gotten acquainted in person, especially that video of the devil as you refer to him, the dark-faced individual. I can't look at that image and not feel that I'm looking into the eyes of a living creature. It's very exciting. I've often imagined what it would feel like to actually gaze into the face of a Sasquatch eventually, and that experience of watching that film was as close to that experience, I think, as I've had.
It's Sasquatch. Believe it, know it, live it. It's the truth. They're here. They know about us. They're aware of us. They think that they're communicating with us. We're just not getting it. That's why I'm trying to get species protection and recognition. I'm trying to get primatologists.
Hey guys, if you're not already, go ahead and subscribe now and join us on our journey. We'd love to have you along. There's a subscribe button right down there. The red one that says subscribe. Click that, hit the bell, give us a like.
Started out at the University of Alberta, where I'm from, as a biology student, and just saw how bad our knowledge of biology is in science. They really, biology and science really has very little to no idea, the understanding of what's going on in the wilderness and ecology. And you should all be concerned about what's happening and how the wilderness is fall apart, because we're all connected. I mean, when I go into an ecology and I look and see, is there frogs? And there's no frogs, the frogs aren't surviving. It's because the water's fucked up and there's something bad going on in the ecology. And you better be concerned about that, because if wildlife can't survive, and wildlife species are fucking tough. I mean, we're talking about species that have survived for hundreds of thousands of years, and if we're destroying the environment to the point where they can't survive, how are we supposed to be surviving? You know, it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. So if you're not concerned about the environment, and you think you're separate and you're unattached and it has no effect on you, you are delusional. You are not living in reality. We cannot continue to survive this way. Human beings at this point have more in common with a virus than any other species. And we all have to care. It all has to matter. How many people in here know how to grow plants? I'm fucking impressed, right? Not too many people can do that. Grow their own food, sustain themselves. I mean, they're teaching things in school. Like in Alaska, they're teaching you how to properly harvest a deer, how to grow plants in your backyard. Those are real important survival skills. And it's important that we find ways to reconnect with nature. And again, you might have thought I was going to come up here and talk about Bigfoot and their size of their feet and what they do, and I can answer those questions. But the message, the number one thing that I'm doing is, it is about reconnecting with nature, reconnecting with our environment, and finding a way to stabilize in this ecology so we can all, survive as a planet. I do what I do. I work on Sasquatch research because I have children, I have family, I have friends. I really, really care about our society and people. I really understand how fundamentally we are all connected, and I feel it's important that I get this out there, because that's how this discovery comes forward and the whole paradigm shift happens throughout all of humanity. This is really, really enormous. So does anybody have any questions you wanted to ask real quick? Because we're going to do lots of that. Did you have a question, sir? Go ahead. A little bit louder. The Yowie in Australia? Well, yeah, so the question was about the Yowie and the Yeren. So I've been studying that. I've been working with professors from Beijing University, since 2007. The Yeti is literally a subspecies of Gigantopithecus, and they're as related to, like, we have a black bear species here in North America, and they have black bears in China. There's a lot of difference between the two, but they are literally just a subspecies. What happened was, what I believe seems to be the root is, yeah, there was the barren land bridge came across, the Sasquatch migrated to North America with the bison and all the other species. And by the way, in case you all aren't aware, less than 200 years ago, there were 800 million elk, 400 million bison on this continent that we have wiped out. I hope that's of concern to people, because there's never, like that, you just want to talk about genocide, like bison don't exist in the wild anymore. We just started reintroducing them in Canada. to the wild, and we're selling them to spots like Montana and Wyoming who are buying them up. But that better concern you, because there are literally thousands of species. Ever heard of the short snout grizzly bear? Probably the fastest terrestrial animal that's ever existed on the planet. We wiped them out. And not we, but our ancestors did. And nobody gave a fuck about these things. And it scares the shit out of me. Like, do you understand how 800 million elk? Like, we literally have tens of thousands of them now. I mean, if that's not a concern, we really gotta wake up, because we can't keep doing this. We can't keep annihilating species and separating ourselves from nature. Ritalin and all this bullshit, antidepressant medication, there's something else wrong with you. And pharmaceutical companies don't make any money from healthy people. And they don't want you to be healthy. And if you think the business gives a fuck about your health, wow, talk about delusional, right? So it's a really, really scary thing when business and money come first over everything else. And again, that's how important this Sasquatch discovery is. It's reconnecting with nature, finding out what's wrong with you, or not what's wrong with you, what's right with you while you feel depressed. What's wrong with your environment? What's wrong with the food that you're eating? These are imperative things that you have to go into. Be healthy, buy organic, try to say no to pharmaceuticals as best you can, because man, that shit just scares the hell out of me. You know, you gotta be, that's your freedom. In wilderness is your freedom. This is America. Do you guys care about your freedom? Just a little bit? Kind of matters? So wildness and freedom go together a lot. Thank you. They really, really matter. Right? So keep that in mind in everything you do. When you feel wild, when you feel the need to get crazy, that's good. Like, society doesn't want you to do that. And I say, yes, you do. That's your wildness. That's your freedom. If it's calling to you, go with it. Find a way. Get out there, connect with nature, walk barefoot, learn about trees and plants, go eat some berries that are growing wild. You know, like, reconnect, guys. That's what this discovery, and that's what everything I'm doing is about. This is not about a new primate. And these beings are hominids. They are literally a higher level of hominid species. I have the DNA done. You want to be scared? Listen to this. So it goes orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzee. This is the DNA scale. Chimpanzees, humans, and we all thought that Sasquatch was between chimpanzees and humans. They're not. They're up here. They're literally a more evolved hominid than we are. And I hope that offends you a little bit, because I'll tell you something. I know Survivor Man. He's a colleague and friend of mine. He is one of the baddest ass motherfucker survivors in the world. That dude is tough. And if I put him out in one of these ecologies where the Sasquatch survived and said no technology for 2 months, he'd be dead. I could come back in 10 years after doing that to a Sasquatch, and he'd have his big feet up, chilling out. Who is the better survivor, right? So even getting back to native cultures, back to the indigenous people, learning about tracking, reconnecting. Because I'm white, no disrespect, but I'm an indigenous man. I'm learned by a Cree native how to survive and get back to the wilderness. And man, I was confused as a teenager, like a lot of you have been, and growing up not knowing what I could do with this call to nature, to freedom, to wilderness. And the Sasquatch have really reconnected to me to that. So go ahead, you had a question, sir?
Yes. We're all familiar with the original found Bigfoot footage. What percentage would you say found footage has been faked, and does that hurt your cause?
Yeah, it's just like anything else in life. First of all, he's talking about the Patterson-Gimlin footage, which is 100% real, guys. Like that footage, that old 1967 Sasquatch that's in, you all have seen it, I'm sure. It's that anecdotal footage. Man, you guys, I mean, the evidence we have now, literally I will tell you, that film was filmed in 1967, and there is so much evidence supporting that footage is real. And that just blows my fucking mind. That is such an incredible, amazing, we actually have tracks from that footage, which all my footage I've never been able to have. This is the Sasquatch and this is the trackway. Unfortunately, I do my research in the Rocky Mountains where it's like rocks everywhere, and having a perfect dermal track has been extremely difficult to do. But just even imagine that, guys. In 1967, someone really filmed a Sasquatch. And what we know now, 50 years, more than 50 years later, is just to sum it up real quickly, there's 5 things that happened and that Sasquatch did that actually at the time proved it was fake, because we didn't have the knowledge. As an example, there was a bend in that Sasquatch's foot. It's called a mid-tarsal joint. We didn't know that existed in nature until we discovered it in chimpanzees and gorillas in the 1980s. So these 2 cowboys from California, Americans, filmed a Sasquatch and knew about a mid-tarsal joint 20, 30 years before fucking science knew. You have to literally understand, it's impossible for that footage to be fake. If anybody tells you that footage is fake, bullshit. There's so many reasons to prove, especially now, that footage is absolutely, unequivocally, 100% real. I have professors and colleagues that go around talking about that footage, and it's really, it's important because it started the paradigm shift, which has led to over 100 million people in this country. 1 in 3 people at least in this room believe Sasquatch is either real or very probably real. And that's important that we start that belief. I don't believe in Sasquatch. I know they're real. I study them. I'm very passionate about this discovery, as you can see, for way more reasons than just a new hominid species. This is so important to everybody. It's going to create such an important change, and I fight for it every day. Go ahead, your next question, please.
When you're hunting Sasquatch, you get into their territory, do they become hostile? And if they do, what do you do?
Well, I'd say I'm at about 50-50, so and I never hunt them, I research them, I give them respect. What I learned from the native people, I give them gifts. About 50% of the time they completely reject me. And we're talking, guys, people, I've worked with these big Hollywood producers that come around, and you have X-Men, all these superheroes that are really, really cool stuff. These are literally not, this, that's 8'6". The Sasquatch I study, the main dominant male, is 9'4", and he's over 900 pounds. He's literally more than twice as strong as a gorilla. I believe he is actually the fastest terrestrial being on the planet. And that's so cool, especially for us, because we're upright and bipedal like most beings are not. And they are literally stronger, bigger, faster, smarter, and they're the most human species on the planet. I don't know why the fuck we're making movies about X-Men and superheroes and Planet of the Apes when we literally have the Wolverine would have his fucking ass handed to him by a Sasquatch if it latched onto him. Fuck Animanium. These guys will tear that shit apart. So they are amazing, incredible beings, and just the more I learn about them, guys, literally, I know most of you, a lot of you out there are going, well, this can't be possible, there's no way this can exist. But the more I learn about this species, the more I realize it does exist, and no wonder we haven't made this discovery. I know hundreds of people contact me every month that go, man, I saw a Sasquatch and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Nobody will fucking listen to you. Nobody cares. You'll get ostracized and ridiculed. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people that have seen these species. Where do you go? Who are you gonna tell? And the truth is, within their own little group and community, an honest man sees a Sasquatch and his friends believe him. Or they get ridiculed or not. But there's no, if you call Fish and Wildlife, they don't give a shit. And that's what pisses me off. The number one things I'm famous for is I sue Fish and Wildlife. You guys really need to understand this. I've been to Fish and Wildlife in Montana, in Washington State, California, and then Alberta, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan, where I'm from. I literally go to forestry officers. I walk in the office. I go, you see this DNA? You see this footage? Come on out with me. I'll show you a Sasquatch. I did it with Survivor Man. I've done it with 6 fucking PhDs. Wildlife PhDs, biologists have sat there and go, holy shit, there's a Sasquatch. As I'm holding their hand and I go, look now. And that's what the ICP is gonna see when I take them out this year. You guys really, I've done everything I can. I'm fucking fighting for this, and this species exists. And you know what? Don't believe me? Ask the native people. There's not one single native tribe I've ever met that doesn't know this species exists. They're not believers, they're knowers. They'll tell you how to coexist and interact with these species. And nobody's been better trackers and wilderness experts than the native people. And we reject them? That's mind-blowingly preposterous. We gotta open up our minds, people. But I have good news. The discovery's here. It's happening. And ICP is a part of it because Violet J says, I'm no bullshit, and Shaggy's coming out. Motherfucker, show me a Bigfoot. Right? And guess what? That's what I do, motherfucker. Right? Let's go.
I have a two-part question.
Sure.
The first part is, why haven't you been able to recover the dead body of a Sasquatch? And if they have like a burial grounds of some kind, why can't you bring a crew of people in because they'll be scared off or whatever and dig them up?
Right. Well, I'll tell you, this starts with in Langchun, China, 200,000 years ago, they discovered a 200,000 year ago burial area they discovered from Gigantopithecus. They don't accept that because we only started putting our dead in a specific spot about 20,000 years ago. So they've been doing this long. That didn't even surprise me. They're literally hundreds of thousands of years more advanced than we are for respecting and appreciating their dead. But you don't go, like, for the native people especially, if you look at them, they literally, where I'm from, they bury their bodies only like 2-3 feet below the surface. They bless the ground and nothing comes near it. You don't approach burial grounds. It's immensely disrespectful. You stay away. And I'll tell you, I was talking about Sasquatch being 50-50. Remember, guys, these beings are telepathic. If I go into an area and I'm going to desecrate your family, I'm going to desecrate your children, your father, I'm going into a burial site, that's my intent, they're not going to let you in. They literally, as soon as you get out of your truck and close the door, they understand your intent. And intention is everything. That's why I'm getting success like so many other people aren't. You go out there with a gun, I come to your house with a gun to shoot your son and bring him home and prove that you're gonna have some fucking problem with that. These beings are so connected, they're so family orientated, they will defend their own, and they aren't ready for the discovery yet. It's not time yet, but it's coming. I think this 100 million Americans is a big start, and that's my intent with them, is there's 100 million people in the United States that want this, and I am not the boss out there. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm their student, and I just saw a Sasquatch 2 months ago. I tell you, I took a knee, and I was like, teacher, right? And this was like a 14-year-old individual who was 8 feet tall, maybe 600 pounds. He looked amazing. Muscles, thick, beautiful hair. Showed himself to me. I was completely, I took a knee. I didn't know what else to do. Like, he walked out and showed himself to me. So this isn't, you don't verse them, because you'll lose. You don't verse nature, because it'll find a way to bump back. Believe me, you take on nature, nature created viruses. Nature will bump back, and you don't want to be there when that shit happens. And that's what is happening with COVID and all this stuff going on. The COVID shit, I don't know how you people feel about that stuff, but there literally, truly are viruses. We put our children in school and we get sicknesses. That's nature telling us our children shouldn't be put in like sardines. My little boy gets sick, he brings it home to me, gives me colds all the time. I get over it because I'm healthy and strong and have a good immune system, but that's nature starting to bump back, and you don't want the Sasquatch to bump back. I verse these guys, I go in with that, say I can't hide my intent. Does that make sense? So if I was coming into your area and I was gonna exhume a body, which is fucking disrespectful, so I can prove they exist and become famous or whatever, that doesn't work. And they are the boss out there. The Sasquatch means master of the wilderness. That's what the native people called them. Native people who are incredibly connected and in tune with nature and lived here in equilibrium, which we do not. Those people say the masters of the wilderness are Sasquatch, and I wholeheartedly agree with them. So, next question.
All right, I know this is like a really grilling question. I need you to settle the debate me and my buddies have. I've been really wondering, do you think Bigfoot has a normal dick like me and you? Or do you think he has one of them lipstick red rockets like a dog?
Sure, it had to come up. It's actually an interesting question because I work with gorilla trackers that are out in the with Diane Fossey. So, and the gorilla tracker, these men who are black, always have to wear a little satchel, cover themselves up, because if a gorilla sees the size of the man's dick, it's bigger than his, and he'll beat the shit out of him out of jealousy. So I wear pants when I go do Sasquatch research. I don't mind the question though, it's all good. So, I saw someone over here had a question. Did you want to come ask? You gotta
Yeah,
walk.
this guy
Gotta walk
had a
5
question.
steps.
He wants me to speak his question because he blew his voice out and his teeth are fucked up. I'm gonna turn around. So, give me see if I got this right. If there's proof of the Sasquatch, if you have the proof, what makes you think do you believe that the government will leave them alone?
No, it's literally what will happen is these beings are people. They're going to be recognized as an indigenous human species and have land rights. So when you follow the money, the discovery is going to do serious damage to the strip mining, the logging, the oil industry, which is enormous money, but I don't give a fuck about that. We need this discovery and we're going to have to figure this shit out. Period.
Here we go.
What do you think about David Paulides and the Bigfoot, all that stuff documentary?
Yeah, he seems to be very thorough about his research and his work, extremely factual, and I absolutely know that Sasquatch fuck people up. They'll kill people. I mean, they are literally hunters. I remember going to a reserve once, and this one gentleman didn't want me on the reserve anymore, and he goes, "Let me tell you something, Todd. I'm a hunter. I kill elk, I kill deer, I skin them, I eat them, and I love those animals. You fucking come back here, and do you know what I'm gonna do to you? And you better take that shit seriously, because this man is a hunter and a killer, right? And the Sasquatch hunt and kill elk and deer and bighorn sheep and whatever the fuck they want. And they do it with their bare hands. So they kill people that fuck with them. There are people that go out there with bad intentions that are and don't listen and don't observe the signs, and they'll kill them. There are also Sasquatch that are going to be like angry serial killers that are just overly wild, that like to hunt and hurt people, steal people. This has been going on. But I let David Paulides do that because I know some Sasquatch are like that, but that's not the majority of the species, and I can't be focused on how they kill people. When I see them and they're around me all the time, I have to know that they're peaceful and this is a good thing, because man, when they decide to take me or one of my expeditioners, there's nothing I can do about it. They're the boss out there, they own it, they run the show, and if they want someone gone or dead, it just happens and I can't stop it.
Yeah, thank you.
Alright. So why do you think the Bigfoot was so aggressive with you when you came back and you had the flares? Why did they follow you so long and were so aggressive?
So what happened was the female that I had footage of that I just showed you, the whole incident that had transpired. So a snowstorm happened. I went into a Sasquatch habitat. I got footage. I came out, and what happened was I was having good success, and they were okay with this new success and new footage and the things I was having with them. But I wanted what's called a spiritual animal ritual, and I wanted to have that performed. And the native people told me when I was ready it was going to happen. So as I was leaving the habitat, normally they pushed me out. They were trying to push me back in. And since I am a human being and I'm pretty ignorant and not connected, spiritually and psychically, they were trying to get me to have that spiritual animal ritual. So what he's asking is, so there was a day where I had a flare and I was screaming at them to leave me alone. And what they wanted to do was they wanted to push me back to a holy place and perform a spiritual animal ritual on me, which I didn't know and I wasn't aware of. So eventually in that video, a lot of people don't know this, but so I was screaming at them to leave me alone. I was, obviously having a pretty bad night because they were trying to push me back in. Eventually they did latch on to me, take me to that spot, and I had that spiritual animal ritual. So a lot of the natives and people that are really connected to Discovery have been very secretive about it. Like, you must have heard about a spiritual animal ritual, right? People have their spiritual animals. There's no native shaman that performs that. The Sasquatch performed that ritual, and they performed it on me. So, and the old way of thinking was, people will figure it out, let people happen naturally, let it happen on their own. I don't prescribe to that. I take people out, I show them everything, I put it all on the line. I don't have time to fuck around. This is not gonna go on. Like, since the Patterson film in 1967, it's been over 50 years. I think a lot of people are losing interest Because really what's going on, what success is there? And the truth is, every 2 weeks I take people out on expedition, we are having incredible success, amazing interactions. There's new footage coming, new proof coming, and Shaggy and Jay are coming out. We're gonna have an expedition, and this is gonna be an ongoing thing with them. They're doing little Sasquatch tours late at night for the kids. They're having fun with it, but the truth is they are passionate about this discovery. It does matter to them. And when I take them out and no bullshit, show them about a Sasquatch, no one can ever stop that. What happens with them will come back to all you guys. I'm gonna literally be a part of changing their lives and reconnecting them in nature the way they've asked me to. And I've already won. We have tremendous success. This discovery is coming. That's why I'm here. It's going to happen, mark my words. I made a prediction a year ago. It was gonna be 4 years. I got 3 more years to finish this discovery. And I say, fuck science, fuck the big political institutions. I'm going to prove to 100 million people in the United States that this species is real. You'll have no more doubt. 100 million in the US, 100 million throughout the rest of the world, and that's all I need. If I can just do that in the next 5 years, 200 million people will know that Sasquatch exists. That'll create enough paradigm shift where the world will start to heal and become a better place. Reconnect to your wildness, reconnect to your freedom, right in a beautiful spiritual way. That's what this discovery is about.
Did you ever think about maybe putting your energy into finding other creatures as well, such as maybe like the Jersey Devil or the Loch Ness Monster, if you think they're real, that is?
Right, Jersey Devil, Loch Ness Monster, Dogman. I just do Sasquatch. So there's aliens. People ask me about that stuff all the time, and I'm just a regular person. I don't know. Is there aliens? I've seen some stuff. I'm impressed with it, but like Discovery Channel and Netflix likes to call me a paranormal researcher. I'm not. I'm a Sasquatch researcher, the same way people research bears or deer. I just do Sasquatch. I understand the wilderness, the ecology. I have to coexist with bears and mountain lions and wolves out there, so I have great knowledge of them. But I am a Sasquatch researcher, period. And my focus isn't all over the place. I'm not traveling around doing Sasquatch research. I'm literally in one spot, the same way Jane Goodall and Diane Fossey do their research with one troop of chimpanzees or gorillas in one place. I'm in one spot, focused on getting this discovery, and it's coming. You all are gonna remember the name Todd Standing, guys, because I've been in the news. I've been international headlines about every 5 years, 2007, 2013, when I come back. The next time I come back, I ain't playing. I'm here to make this discovery happen. My movie is called Discovering Bigfoot because this is the discovery process. It's been happening for over a decade, and my cooperation has grown to the point where we're right on the cusp of this discovery. I just have to wait for my teachers to show me how they want to do it. And this year, the stuff that's happening right now is just absolutely fucking mind-blowing. I just came back from an expedition, and the things that I learned on that, my teachers are showing me things so much, so fast. This is a big year, and having the ICP come out, you realize like Shaggy and Violent J are gonna go out way into the fucking backcountry wilderness of Canada with me. It'll be me and these two men for 7 days in the wildest, craziest habitat. It's gonna be amazing. I'm so excited. They're gonna film the shit out of it, and whatever happens, Shaggy was, Violent J is very on board. Shaggy's like, fuck this guy, if he doesn't show me a Sasquatch, fuck him. I love that attitude. Bring it. I want you to know that he's a hardcore skeptic, and we'll see what happens when I take him out into my backyard and I put everything out. So, next question, please.
All right, so talking about sustaining life earlier, just to let everybody know, the monarch butterfly is now an endangered species. So go home and plant that fucking milkweed and stop using pesticides on your shit. We gotta save the butterflies, guys. My question though is, how many Sasquatch families do you think there are out there in the world? And if they're not that many, would they be considered endangered themselves?
Yeah, I one of my things I was famous for was working for species protection and recognition. I'd estimate, I don't think there's really, there's probably 15,000 of them. The danger really is loss of habitat equals loss of life. Are we absorbing their habitat? Holy fuck yeah, right? And it's monarch butterflies, it's the bees, it's stop using pesticides, buy organic food if you can, you know, don't support GMO. Like, you gotta be knowledgeable about these things, guys. You know, make sure that the people you're buying stuff from are ethically supporting humanity, otherwise you're supporting its detriment. And monarch butterflies now, just every week, you wait, there's bad shit coming right now. I see the way the environment's changing. I'm out there in the bush. I see the animals suffering from what's going on in the ecology, and it scares me, because it's gonna come back to all of us. We're not separate.
I got a two-part question. First one is, why is it illegal to hunt Sasquatch if the government says they don't exist? And the second one is, there's a great secret in this country about the national parks that most people don't know, and that's close to 1 million people go missing in them every single year. Do you not think that Sasquatch have anything to do with that number of missing people? Do you think it's bears, just people getting lost, or serial killers?
Right, okay, so two parts. So the first one was National Park, missing people, Sasquatch. What was the first one again?
Why is it illegal to hunt Sasquatch if the government says they do not exist?
It would be illegal to hunt Sasquatch, but you can't if there's no seatbelt law, you can't say, a police officer can't pull you over and say, oh, you're not wearing a seatbelt, there's a law and he can enforce it. Until there's a law to be enforced, I could literally I could kill 10 Sasquatch, come back with them hanging upside down, murder a whole species of them. Anybody could do that. Well, you can't because they're too advanced. But, so I don't really worry about people hunting them because, again, they're literally a higher frequency, higher level being. They just protect themselves. But of course people go missing from Sasquatch. Sasquatch kill people. That's what David Pilates looks into. He doesn't say that. He beats around the bush, people go missing, all this Sasquatch was involved, and then this guy's gone and his kid was stolen. Yes, that happens. I've seen bears that are violent. I've seen grizzly bears that kill other grizzly bears, that eat babies, that are just monstrously, you would think they're evil, but they're just high-end predators. They love to kill, they're hunters, and this bear just loved to kill a little too much, and he had to get put away. But you know, do you disrespect him for loving being a bear, for embracing his wildness? They're gonna be Sasquatch like that. Sasquatch that fucking hate people, right? There are people that hate people, you know? So, right? So, but those are the fewer and far in between, and I don't want to focus on that because the vast majority of them are peaceful, and they want us to find our wildness. They want us to be free. They're standing there watching all this shit happening, and they're not happy about it. Every day we become more domesticated. You really gotta think about that, guys. Are you gonna allow yourself to become domesticated, live in a box? Or are you gonna break free and get wild? You have to decide that for yourself. And that's what I'm here to tell you is you have a wildness in you, and I want you to embrace it and be free.
Hey man, I just wanted to know, how did you get in contact with ICP, or did they get in contact with you to do this whole expedition type thing? And I also wanted to say thank you for doing this. My grandpa truly believed in this shit, and he would love to be here, but he passed away, so he ain't here.
Props to your grandpa. Yeah, Jay contacted me. I'm always, I have people, just great men reach out to me. Survivor men reached out to me. It was Violent J who's passionate. Violent J's been doing Sasquatch stuff for a long time. He saw my movie, and I want to support what he's doing. And we just cooperate. Cooperation is powerful, guys. I feel it, and I just when I met him, I just recognized it. I am very empathic, and we had an immediate connection, and I really respect. I could literally see into that man what he's done, what he's trying to do, where he was put. Like how he grew up and how he decided to rise up and find his greatness. And that's what I see in him, as a man who was born into this civilization, and he found his wildness, he found his beauty, his passion, and he stood up, and that's why he has this tremendous following, because he has that greatness, and I'm honored to work with him.
Hi, I was just wondering, so like, evolution-wise, how far back do you think like our split from them would have been?
Ha.
Like, my brain's fuzzy.
You know what? So that's a. Let me tell you guys a story that all the Sasquatch know. This will answer your question. So a long time ago, this is what the Native Americans taught me. A long time ago, the Great Spirit came to Sasquatch and he came to man. He said, look, I have a gift for you. It's fire. And this fire will cook your food, keep you warm, keep you safe. But this fire represents technology. And once you go down this path of technology, you'll separate yourself from the wilderness. And once you go down that path, you can never go back. So even the Native Americans, they started using bows, they started having teepees, they embraced fire. And the Sasquatch, who love nature, you understand they're naked and connected, they eat from the earth, they're so fucking free to do whatever they want, whenever they want. And they see how fire and technology, now we walk around staring at phones all day. It's like a bad dream, right? We're like hypnotized by technology. And they see this, and the more they see technology separates us, domesticates us, binds us, and chains us up, the more they fear it. You can't give a Sasquatch an axe or a tool. They'll go, fuck that. I am not going where you guys are. I will not go down that road of domestication, which is stealing your freedom and your connectivity, right? So that's where the story begins, is the Sasquatch remember that.
Yeah, I think this is your last question right here. Hey, but I know you were talking earlier about going green and reconnecting with the earth. A lot of us, we all know we're on processed foods, we're on fast food all the fucking time. And I try to get my wife and kids to fucking do the vegan thing and everything, and it didn't work. Any pro tips on all that to better and get healthier and get away from all that stuff, because that's garbage, really.
Farmers. You know your dentist, you know your doctor. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So by making sure you know where your food is coming from, that's how you can reconnect, right? So try to find out where you go to farmers markets, support farmers, go directly to the source. Try to find a farmer who's passionate and loves what they do, because that'll transform over to you in food. If you can avoid eating tortured chickens that live, if you think that energy doesn't come back to you, your chicken that you're eating is a tortured being that suffered in a cage, and you ate it, right? So that toxicity comes back to you. So I know you got something interesting to say. What is it?
Just yell it.
Hunting a 900-pound Sasquatch? Yeah, I don't hunt them though. I was just saying they are 900 pounds. You're talking about eating a Sasquatch? Yeah, no, I wouldn't. No, thank you. No Sasquatch news for me. Hey, the day you want to step in the ring with a 900-pound being twice as strong as a gorilla, wouldn't even be a fight, man. Wouldn't even be a fight. Guns wouldn't do nothing, And the thing is, he'll come into you have to go into his home. He's not going to come to yours. Go ahead. Right. Expeditions are hard with me because I'm pretty much sold out. I have a website called discoveringbigfoot.org is my website. And I'm on YouTube. I have weekly videos. My name is Todd Standing. So even when you see me sitting like this, I'm still Todd Standing. It's just a joke. So my middle name is Out, so it's Todd Outstanding. My parents had a good sense of humor. Just a joke. So I can be funny too. But I think are we good for time, guys? So thank you very much for coming out. Oh yeah, did you have an important question? You're gonna have to run over here quick. Yes, Sasquatch are psychic and immensely telepathic. Like immensely. Well, watch the show Third Eye Spies, guys. This shit is real, like telepathy is real. As human beings, we're just starting to learn about our telepathic abilities and what we're capable of. The Sasquatch have never stopped doing it. Every single Sasquatch is immensely, profoundly telepathic. I'm learning to be telepathic because they're always communicating with me and stimulating that part of my brain. So they are literally the most telepathic, empathic species that has ever existed, period, without a doubt. And we're gonna prove that with this discovery process. My name is Todd Stang. Thank you very much, y'all. Have an awesome festival. Go ICP!